going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Facts and Stats. This is now episode 108. You have here your host, Everett Jr. Thankfully, today I have two special guests here with me. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, then we'll go ahead and get started.
Hi, I'm Aaliyah. Some people call me Lele, but I'm Aaliyah. And I'm a Packers fan. I've been one since like the beginning of time. It was not an option in my household. You had to be Packers. You had to bleed green and gold. I'm usually the last time I was here, I think I was NBA for NBA, but I way love football way more, way more, way more. NFL is like my first love to the sports stuff. So I'm very excited to talk about football because that's like where I thrive and that's like the biggest fandom for me is the NFL. So I'm excited to talk to both of you today.
Okay, let her hear that.
Hi, y'all. I'm Ari. As you can see by my shirt, I'm a Saints fan. Similar to Lily, didn't really have a choice but to be a Saints fan in my household. And then like eventually grew to love the Who Dat Nation, love the black and gold, love everything about this incredibly frustrating franchise. But super happy to be here and to talk football and just share my opinions.
Yep, Lily and Ari, thank y'all. Or Lee, I'm sorry. Lily.
You can call
Lily and
me
Ari.
Lily. Oh,
Lily and Ari, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate it. I pretty much talk to y'all on a day-to-day basis during the sports show. For anybody, it's their first time watching, Fact and Stats is also a daily sports show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Fact and Stats YouTube page. Also, on top of that, I do make and sell my own Fact and Stats apparel on the Fact and Stats website, which is factsandstats.us. And like they said today, we're going to be talking about all NFL today. We have 5 to 7 different topics to talk about: AFC, NFC Championship potential matchup, Super Bowl potential matchup, who deserves MVP, biggest surprises of the season so far, biggest disappointments, etc. But with that being said, though, Ari, I'm actually going to start it off with you. I know you spoke to, how you're a Saints fan. Uh, no matter what, you're going through a tough season right now. I just want you to sort of kind of give us a rundown or update on what this season been like for you. 11 games, y'all 4-7. You fire your head coach. What were your expectations coming into this season? How are they right now? And then how do you think the season's going to finish out? What do you want to happen as far as the finishing it out?
So my expectations coming into the season were actually not high. I didn't really see any differences from last year when we didn't really have a good season with like Derek being here and Pete Carmichael was fired as OC, brought in Clint Kubiak. So I expected things to be a bit more entertaining, but I didn't expect us to be a good team because I just like don't think we have all of the pieces to quite frankly be a good team. And so like as everybody knows, we started off hot, 2-game win streaks, 91 points in 2 weeks, and then we crashed and burned, very Saints fashion. Once we played an actual real team with an actual quarterback and defense and running back, which I was skeptical about the first 2 weeks anyway. And then we went on this crazy losing streak. I called to like the Saints fans that I talked to. I told them that I personally felt like it would take us losing to Carolina for Dennis to get fired. And that's what happened. So, I don't want to say I'm happy. I am happy. Let me not lie. I'm happy that DA is gone. I didn't really like him as a head coach. Some coaches are better as coordinators. Some dudes are just better coordinators than they are head coaches. He was too much trying to prop up Derek, and there were some things that he did last year with like Chris Olave that I did really appreciate to like defend Derek. And so I just, the season has been going. We've won, I want to say 2 games since we put in our interim coordinator, interim head coach, our special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi. I have not been the biggest fan of us winning those 2 games because I saw a top 5 pick there. I saw the ability of Shador Sanders being my next quarterback there, and then like saw it all wilt away. So wasn't too happy about that, but I understand it's like really hard to get these professional, football players to like just quit and commit to tanking. So like I can definitely understand that. We don't need to be winning too many more games though. Like, Giants, okay. Raiders, okay. Nothing else though. I mean, no magical playoff run. Because like ultimately this team is like it needs to be in a rebuild. And we're not gonna be where we need to be, I think. Um, if we like somehow make the playoffs. I think they're gonna buy in to Darren Rizzi. Not saying he's not a good coach, but like he ain't my coach and he shouldn't be my coach. Because that's not what's needed in the league at this moment. Like I don't think when you look at the successful teams in the league, whether it be, the Lions, Philadelphia, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, whatever, like I don't think you don't see them making those kinds of moves. So I would really like us to like start fresh, get a new head coach, get a new quarterback, and like start from the ground up. Let some of these old guys on the team retire, finally deal with our cap situation and like start the rebuilding process. Making some friggin' like little fake playoff run isn't gonna like isn't gonna help that happen. So yeah,
Okay, that's
that's where
fair.
I'm at with
And,
that.
all right, so thank you, Ari, on the update on the Saints. Will said you explained everything perfectly. If you ask me, at least you didn't come into the season with high hopes. 4-7 through 11, and you not say you want to lose out, but you want to lose as many games as possible to maintain that top 10 pick that I think you guys have right now. Lele, on the other hand, you was born into it. You couldn't choose nothing else. You had to be a Packers fan. So I do want you to get the people to dive into you guys' season. What was your expectation to come into this season? Obviously, you had a disappointing playoff loss last year to the 49ers. You're sitting at 8-3 through 11 right now. How are you feeling midway? What was your feelings coming into the season? How you think the season going to end for you guys?
Okay, so my feelings coming into this season, I was really, really, really excited for the sophomore year of like the Jordan Love era Packers. Um, my thing was always it didn't matter like as far as like getting further or getting to the NFC Championship since we were like one play away from the NFC Championship last season. It was more about how do I see like the growth of our young core, like our young core with Jordan Love, Dobbs, Reed, Watson, these guys, we have them on rookie contracts right now for the cheap. And like how can we like expand this window and grow in ways like during the regular season? Because last year the regular season was so stressful. It was ups and downs, ebbs and flows. I think we started this season on a bye. Like by the time we had a bye, we were, I want to say, 3-6. I want to say we were around that. And now to have a bye and we be like 6-3, like the reverse. We literally have the reverse record. Feels really, really, really good. That's like the growth that I wanted to see in this team. Like, how do we start off the season this year compared to how we started off the season last year, which was growing pains and ups and downs. But this year, we literally won 2 games without Jordan Love, with our backup Malik Willis, and that just shows the growth of our whole roster. It's not just a one man show because I think last year a lot of the talk was like Jordan Love, the way he was playing last season is like part of the reason that we reached those heights, which yes, he was a direct, direct cause of why we reached those heights and we're one play away from the NFC Championship. But it's also the guys we have around him, the deep receiving core, the defense stepping up in big moments, even though we had a horrible coordinator, Joe Barry. And that's also one of the things I was really excited about this season was the change in DC to Jeff Halfley because I think some of the guys that we had, the young guys in the defense needed to have like a new change. We needed to spruce it up because Joe Barry, that was an experience. A Joe Barry led defense was a big, big experience. A lot of zone, a lot of playing soft, not a lot of like taking command of the defense. It wasn't really aggressive play calling on that side of the ball. So I'm excited to see how like Halfley has these guys playing with energy and he's believing in them. And also the new additions of Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, like that's been the most exciting to see us be aggressive in free agency because everybody knows the Green Bay Packers are not aggressive in free agency due to the fact that we are a small market and also due to the fact that like we just like to draft and develop. That's literally our culture is like drafting. We draft a quarterback, we hit on him, hopefully, and then we draft good core pieces around them. We like to keep our offensive line very controlled and good and stable for our Hall of Famer quarterbacks. Hopefully, we have a third Hall of Famer. Cross fingers. But that's really our culture. So I've been really excited this year to see like the growth even in the regular season. That was my biggest thing. How are we going to get better? How are we going to be a contender from the beginning in the regular season? I feel like we did that this year.
How do you think the season's going to end for you guys?
Oh, okay. So how I think the season's going to end for us? That is a tough question because I'm caught in the middle. I really believe we can make a run, but the drops are concerning. Jordan Love's play is concerning still. That's one of the things I just I'm still unsure about him. He did not have an interception in the last game we played. That is a step in the right direction, but he threw three, and they should have caught all three of them. But that's neither here nor there. That is my thing. It's the turnovers and it's the drops. The offense has to be elite because we are gonna see elite offenses. The people that the two teams that everybody's talking about in NFC, Eagles, Lions, they have offenses. We have to score with them. We do not have a choice because our defense, they're based on for them to be dominant, they have to generate turnovers. I don't see them generating turnovers on the Eagles personally because Jalen Hurts has been really good in that area the second half of the season. He has not turned the ball over. Jared Goff, well, we could generate turnovers on him. I think there is a little bit of a because they're a divisional opponent. We do have like the scheme on them, and I think I'm really excited for that second matchup between the Lions. But I feel like our ceiling is the NFC Championship. I'm gonna say that that's our ceiling. If we
Okay.
execute the way we need to, it's the NFC Championship.
Okay, that's fair. Like I said, I appreciate both of y'all answering that question. And also, if you are still watching this video or you made this far in the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well to the Fact and Stats platform. My next thing that I want to bring up to you guys or you ladies, what has been the biggest surprise this NFL season to you all? I'll start with me personally. I want to give as Ari is here, by the way, I want to give her flowers. I remember during the show one time we was arguing about which division is the best division in football. And I was saying the AFC North, and she was like, "Oh nah, I think it's gonna be the NFC North." And I think one of the person was on her side, and I think everybody else was like, "Nah, be quiet. No, no way." The NFC North definitely surprised me. And my biggest surprise of the season is actually a team in the NFC North. That's the Minnesota Vikings. I did not expect them to be 9-2 through 11 games, especially after losing Kirk Cousins. You draft JJ McCarthy, you get Sam Darnold, and JJ obviously is out for the year, but Sam Darnold stepped up big time. You also get Aaron Jones as your running back now from Green Bay, and TJ Hawkinson came into the year with a torn ACL. Jordan Addison came into the year, I think, with an ankle injury. And to be 9-2 through 11 games, your defense started off the season pretty damn strong. So for me personally, my biggest surprise in the NFL season so far is the Minnesota Vikings. So that was my biggest surprise in the NFL this season. Shout out to Ari. But Ari, speaking of you though, what is your biggest surprise in the NFL season so far?
Similar to you, as my biggest surprise of this season are the Vikings. Well, I would say that's my biggest good surprise. The Vikings. I think I was already behind their defense. I felt like Brian Flores is putting it together a good unit, and that you could kind of see that coming out at the end of last season. I will never, overlook Jettas being a thing. And I always felt like Jordan Addison was a good too. Obviously, like the TJ Hawkinson thing was like a little questionable. And Aaron Jones was going to be there, but the big thing was like, well, Aaron Jones wasn't healthy in Green Bay. They let him go. Like there were question marks, and then they drafted JJ McCarthy, and I think there became even more question marks, and then like, oh, hey JJ, and then he got hurt in training camp, and then it was like it was going to be Sam Donald. So I think I always had a feeling that their defense would be good, but like I didn't know offensively if they would be able to like keep up with teams, and they've showed me that they can. Um, Granted, they've had some dips like during midseason. They aren't. I don't think they're playing as well as they did the beginning of the season. But like that's natural. But like at the end of the day, I don't think anybody could have anticipated the Vikings being what they are right now. Even
Yeah.
if you are low on them, like you can't tell me that you saw this coming.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my surprise.
1000% agree. 1000%. Lily, how you feeling though? What's your biggest surprise in the NFL season so far?
I want to be different. So I'm gonna say the Chargers. I
Mm,
was not expecting for them to be this good. I know that Harbaugh is a winner. That's one of his things that he's known for. But for him to come in there and like bring his winning culture immediately, and like the wins reflected, I think they're 7-4, seven
yeah,
and four, I believe.
I think so.
And for them to be a playoff team already, I thought it would take like 1 year because I don't think they have like all the offensive pieces they need right now. And I definitely think there's a way they can improve on the defensive end, but their defense is way better now than it was last year and like the past all of Herbert's years. So I feel like this is a really, really, really surprise team for me as like a Justin Herbert. Like I like him. He's my type of quarterback, strong arm, can throw it anywhere. That's the type I like. He's like the I compare him to Aaron Rodgers, his talent level, and that's like the type of quarterbacks that I like. You know, Aaron Rodgers in his prime, not Jets, Aaron Rodgers. But Chargers though are definitely a surprise. I did not expect them to have this much success this like early in the Harbaugh era. So I'm very impressed with them, and I like that he did choose Joe Alt. I think that's a lot of things that coaches need to do. It's like it's not all about the skill position. Like getting an offensive tackle, offensive line like in the first round can provide like instant success and instant like growth of a franchise that needs like success. So I feel like he's done a really good job with that organization already. So 7-4, not bad for your first year.
That's a great point out. I know coming into that draft, there was a lot of questions. People knew they needed offensive line help, but people also knew they needed to get Justin Herbert another weapon after Quentin Johnson just did not have a good rookie season. Not saying he's having a strong season now, but they actually still ended up with Ladd regardless. So to get Joe Alt and get Ladd, that's a good start. And J.K. and Gus Edwards, speedy recovery for J.K. Sprained MCL, I think, in that Ravens game. But J.K. and Gus been pretty damn good this year as well. So shout out to Jim. Shout out to the Chargers. I actually love that pick. We're gonna move to the biggest disappointments. I'm gonna let y'all go first. I don't want to take one of y'all picks this time, so Lily, I'm gonna circle right back to you. Who's your biggest? Oh, all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got it. Go.
No, 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 go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, biggest disappointment. So I was juggling between. I'm gonna say Bengals. That's mine.
Mm,
Biggest disappointment is Bengals. I was trying to say Texans, but I think it's too soon for them. The Bengals is my disappointment because as a Joe Burrow, I'm also a Joe Burrow girl. Okay, a big fan of Joe Burrow's game, but I they're wasting his best season. And that's really pissing me off. They're literally wasting his best season. They're wasting Jamar Chase's best season, I think personally. Um, and their defense is horrible. And their head coach, he has to go because if they do not make the playoffs, this is unacceptable. You have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you have Joe Burrow. T. Higgins has been in and out. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have been healthy this entire season. That's something that has been a struggle for them in the past, and I think it's been terrible. Their defense, they have no identity. They don't stop the run. They don't stop the pass. Like there's no direction on that side of the ball. So I'm just like really disappointed in them because I thought that they would have at least a medium defense. It's like really really bad. So if you have a bottom 10 defense, it eliminates everything that Joe Burrow is doing. I think if they were more middle of the pack, they would have more wins because I think their losses have only been one possession. Like it's been one possession games. I
yeah,
I believe
I
so.
believe
Most of their
so. Yeah,
losses
yeah,
have been one possession. So I'm
yeah.
very disappointed in the Bengals. I thought they were definitely gonna be a wild card, and they're even fighting for that. So like I know they're in a tough division, but they're not doing themselves any favors with the Ravens and Steelers. Like you got to get wins, and you're fighting for the wild card now. You're fighting for the last spot. So I'm very disappointed in that because Joe Burrow is playing the best football of his career, and it's all being wasted. We might not even see him in the playoffs. So I'm really, 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 really disappointed in that whole thing that's going on.
Listen,
And they're not aggressive.
yeah,
They're not
that
going to get any free. I don't think they're going to get any free agents to help next year when they lose T. Higgins, I believe. So it's going to be very tough for him.
well said. I came in with two picks in mind, so that was one. Hopefully Ari don't take the other if she don't say the Bengals as well, But all right, what you got for the biggest disappointment this season so far? To you.
I mean, Lele said she thought it was too early. I do not. My biggest disappointment is the Texans. Uh, I'm so happy you didn't steal them because I was gonna have to pivot again. But yeah, definitely the Texans. And like before people try and come for me and be like, "What's the record?" But like they're winning a trash division, and all of this stuff. They're not a disappointment because of their record. They're a disappointment because of how they look. Like I think coming off of like the wonderful season that CJ had his rookie year, and Tank Dell kind of emerging as like I don't think ever like a wide receiver one, but like a legit target that they could have. You think about the additions that they had. Obviously, they have Nico Collins who had a great year last year as well. But you think about they added Stephon Diggs and then they added Joe Mixon, who's having a fantastic season for the most part. um, you think about all that they added and you take their performance from last year and you're like, dang, this team should be what a lot of people thought, like competing for the NFC Championship, possibly like a sleeper team that can knock teams out like in the playoffs and all that stuff. Um, so to me, like their execution just isn't good. Like DJ definitely set a high bar for himself last year, and I don't think he's reached that season, which is an issue. Their offensive coordinator, Robbie Slowick, has just made some very like I scratch my head. I wonder what the hell is going through his head with some of his decision making with some of his decision making. It's kind of like if you read on paper, you'll be like, oh my gosh, the Texans beat the Bills. And they lost to the Titans. Like your defense gives you 8 sacks. How do you not win that game at home as well versus like a divisional opponent? It just like in my opinion just like makes no sense. And so for me, the biggest disappointment is the Texans.
F.
Is he muted?
F. I was like, ain't no way. Ain't no
I
way.
forgot I muted myself. And I'm not even gonna edit that out. I'm gonna keep that in there. But listen, I was saying I'm glad we all say different teams. I love your Texans point. The Bengals are on my radar, but for me, I mean, call me delusional, whatever. But my biggest disappointment is the New York Jets. I was so
Oh.
high on the Jets. I was so high on the
Yeah,
Jets, and
basic.
like A-Rod missed the whole entire last season, but they still maintained that high defensive level of play. Their biggest weakness on that offensive side was literally the quarterback position. You had Garrett Wilson have a good year. You had Brees Hall have a good year. And now you're coming back with a guy in Aaron Rodgers who can start at quarterback for you, who throughout his career obviously been one of the least or one of the better or one of the star quarterbacks in his league. Up in the age now, but still, whenever you add a guy like A-Rod and he's healthy or, healthy and able to play, I don't know his status now. I've been seeing so many different reports about him this past week as far as him avoiding MRIs and scannings and all that type of stuff. But yeah, whatever, here nor there. My biggest disappointment is the Jets. I did not expect them to be 3-8. I actually was wrong about that AFC East. I had the Jets winning the division. I thought the Bills was going to be second. I thought the Bills were still going to be a really good team. I thought it was going to take a slight step back a little bit, but I was completely wrong. You can never go against one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And that's, in my opinion, the top three is Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen. So my biggest disappointment this season is the New York Jets. They fired Robert Saleh, and ever since they fired him, their defense continued to trend downwards. So they're not even respectable on that side of the ball either. It's one thing to have bad offensive play or mediocre quarterback play and still maintain your elite defense, but they don't even have that no more. There's a lot of question marks around the New York team right now, and the offseason don't look any better for them either. And all these rumors are coming out about Aaron Rodgers, and you trade for Devontae Adams mid-season, and the head coach or the general manager or the owner don't want A-Rod to start anymore, and it's so much going on in New York. So overall, that's my biggest disappointment this season. And again, I do have another question for y'all though. And again, if you made it this far in the episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. When you think of game of the week, we have Thanksgiving tomorrow. I guess some okay Thanksgiving football games. But when you think of the game of the week for week 13, I'm looking no further than the Ravens versus the Eagles. I am really super duper curious to hear y'all thoughts on this game Sunday, this game Sunday. Who do y'all have winning and why? And I'm gonna just leave it at that. And then obviously I'm gonna chime in on the back end. As you can see here, Lamar Jackson is on my wall, and I'm a super duper big Ravens fan. So all right, I know you rock with Jalen Hurts. They're playing great football. You heard Lele speak to how Hurts has limited his turnover the second half of the season. They're on a 7-game winning streak. Smitty did not practice today with that hamstring injury, but we got Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Saquon, Derrick Henry. What's your thoughts on this game coming up? Who you got winning and why? And is this an early Super Bowl preview for you?
Um, I don't have a winner yet. I need to do a lot more thinking on that. I do think this is probably going to be one of the best games of the season, quite frankly. It's kind of like you have the what is the saying? Like immovable object versus the unstoppable force. Like, the Ravens have had some bad losses this year. You've heard it from me.
Yeah,
Y'all have had some bad losses this
yeah,
year. And the Eagles definitely started off this season, I think, a lot slower than people anticipated them to be. But like, if both teams are playing at their best, this game is going to be friggin' nuts. Like, I expect it to be like a knockdown drag out. Obviously, both of y'all teams did the right thing, were aggressive in free
yeah,
agency, and added to y'all's running back room. Y'all adding, Derrick Henry, the Eagles adding Saquon Barkley, and we clearly see what Saquon's done, for the Eagles and how he's improved the Eagles. And I think, we see what happens when Derrick Henry gets the ball in the Ravens games. Give Derrick Henry the ball, y'all win the game. So, that's two additions that have really made an impact on the team. And, there's we talked about it earlier this week, but like there's this thing like, oh, you can't run on the Eagles. Well, I think Derrick Henry is going to definitely put that statement to test. I know Roquan has been dealing with some injuries for y'all, so like not maintaining, containing Saquon is going to be like mission number one for y'all to make sure that that game like does not get out of hand. Both of y'all are teams that like if y'all jump out early on a team, it's really freaking hard for that team to kind of come back. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if this is a close game, like a three-score game, and like there's constant lead changes to see like what team bends but doesn't break. I think we can all agree that like defense is gonna be key. If the Eagles' run defense does not come to play, Derrick Henry is going to run all over them. Justice Hill, Lamar Jackson, y'all are gonna just have a field day, and it's going to be run around playground. And vice versa. If y'all's run defense doesn't come to play, Saquon is going to run all over you, and Jalen Hurts is going to run all over y'all. So I think it's like two teams that, quite frankly, are built very similarly. Obviously, y'all don't have the wideout, no shade. Obviously, y'all don't
yeah,
have the wideouts that
yeah,
they
yeah.
do. But tight end play, running game play, mobile quarterbacks. I think y'all have some similar offenses. It's just going to come down to like the defense and like who does not give up the big play, and or who gives up less big plays. Let's put it that way. Who gives up less big plays, and who like when it's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter, who like locks in and are like, all right, we ain't letting nothing go. Whatever they throw up there, whatever they run, you getting 2 yards, Saquon. You're not catching that ball, AJ. Like being very aggressive and being very physical. I think it's gonna be a very physical game. I personally think this game should have got flexed to Sunday night football. Making this a 3 o'clock game, I think, is a crime to football watchers. But I am extremely excited to see, what the turnout's going to be. And I think, whoever loses, I think there's going to be some like hot takes and people wanting to be like, oh, if the Ravens lose, see, we told you, we told you the Ravens aren't good. We told you and vice versa. I think if the Eagles lose, I think you're gonna have Lions fans coming out the woodwork and being like, again, Lions are number one in the NFC. You ain't got nothing to say about that. So, I think it's gonna be a super entertaining game between two good teams.
I think everything you just said was well said. Appreciate the breakdown, and also hitting on or touching on the offseason acquisitions. Both teams being aggressive at the running back position. Derrick Henry and Saquon, the top two rushing leaders this season. Also want to highlight Josh Jacobs. While he's up here, that was a big addition as well. for her Packers. But Lily, Ravens Eagles this week, man. Who you got winning and why? If you have a winner.
I'm leaning towards. It's so hard because a part of me wants to lean towards Eagles because Saquon has been on a tear, and I really don't think your defense is going to stop him. But then I look at the Ravens. Their losses are against bad teams, right? I think they really come to play. Most of their losses are against bad teams, besides the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
yeah. Besides the Chiefs, yeah,
So I'm. It's so tough because the Ravens are an interesting team. Like I think they'll lay an egg against bad teams, but they always come to play and fight against the elite playoff teams. So I really it's so tough to like. So I really think that it's gonna be who has the ball last. That's my prediction. Whoever has the ball last, I think will win the game because I think both offenses are really potent, and I think Lamar and Derrick Henry. I don't think the Eagles' defense has been tested like this. Defensively, I think the Rams, I guess, is a middle of the pack kind of test for me. I'm not really a big fan of their offense. I'm not a really big believer in them. I think the other offenses they played, I believe the Rams, I want to say Commanders. They
mm,
played them.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not big fans of those offenses, and especially with a rookie quarterback. There's ebbs and flows of the season. You're seeing Jaden Daniels right now hit like a lull. So I really think the Eagles' defense will be tested, and if they can stop Lamar and Derrick Henry, then I definitely will have them as like my favorite in the NFC because this is like a big test for the Eagles. I think like how do you suit up against a real legit elite offense, in my opinion? And then flip it on the other side to the Ravens. I think this is another test for their defense. Like if they can hold Saquon to even just like I want to say 100 yards. If they can hold Saquon to 100 yards the whole game, that's a test. I don't believe it's gonna happen. No, 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 no. But if they can, that would be a test. That would be a big jump. I think what's gonna end up happening is I just don't know. Your receivers are gonna have to step up because both run games are like equal to me. I think both run games are elite.
yeah,
But the pass game, the receiving core, I just believe way more in the Eagles receiving core. Depending on, I don't know if Smitty's gonna play. I think
yeah,
that will like lean me. Then it becomes a little more equal. But with Smitty and AJ Brown, they're like that's an unstoppable offense. I don't know how you stop that. And your defense hasn't really been good in the back end. I think. Besides
yeah,
Kyle Hamilton.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So I don't know. You have an all pro safety in my opinion, but that's really it on like the back end. So good luck. I think
It,
it's whoever gets the ball last. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I actually like that. Whoever gets the ball last, to be honest. I like both things y'all said. Y'all hitting on phenomenal points. The two best rushing attacks in the league this season. Um, two dual threat quarterbacks. Already spoke to the tight end play with Goddard and us having Mark and Likely on our side. Shout out to Charlie. Broke his arm. Speedy recovery for him. That's our tight end number three. But I mean, when you look at the Eagle side, Keon, Mitchell, the rookie corner, Slade, Reed Blankenship, Chauncey Garner Johnson, N'Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, all those guys are playing good football. Speedy recovery to Brandon Graham, he's out for the year, for the rest of the season. But when you look at our side, Marlo
Mm-hmm.
been playing good football, Nate Wiggins been playing good football, Kyle Hamilton been playing good football, uh, Matabuke, Kyle Van Noy, who else I want to? Ardarius Washington. But we even have Malik Harrison step up big time in our last game, and also we lost to the Steelers as well. But yeah, we had Malik Harrison step up big time in that Chargers game, which helped us out tremendously. 10 plus tackles. So I mean, I really agree with you on the whole who has the ball last thing. If Smitty does not play and we lose that game, that'll make me more upset personally because that having two guys like that on the outside is similar to like when we seen
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase and T Higgins earlier in the year. It's a lot for us to deal with. It's a lot for us to deal with. So Marlon Humphrey, I didn't see him torch. I said Marlon Humphrey. I didn't see AJ Brown torch Marlon Humphrey all throughout his career so far. So it's probably not going to be pretty either. Down to when he was in Tennessee. So um, yeah, man. Whoever has the ball last, I'm with you. I agree. And I'm also going to. I mainly need us to be not turn over the ball, but I have so many penalties. I think we lead the league in penalties right now, and that's our biggest issue: illegal
Yeah.
formations, holding, pass interference, false starts. All those always come back and bite us in the ass. So We play good football. We're at home. I expect the bank to be rocking, and hopefully pull out the win, man. It's two great teams, but like Ari said, I don't want too many think pieces coming from this game if the Eagles lose, and I don't want too many think pieces coming from this game if the Ravens lose. Granted, if we lose in a certain fashion, then it's okay. Oh yeah, there's no way in hell they can with
Yeah,
that defense. If it's 31, if it's 34, 37, 21, 38, 17, which never really happened on the Lamar Jackson. If we lose bad and the defense just not looking good at all, we lose by 10. Let's just say 10. 10 is a bad loss for the Ravens because we already don't lose by a lot. We lose by 10 and the defense just look how it's been looking all season for the most part. Granted, they picked up the last couple of weeks, but look how they look for the most part. I think you're going to hear them same thoughts. Okay, there's no way in hell the Ravens can win this defense. I try to give Lamar Jackson a chance. I try to give Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry those guys a chance, but they just can't do it. So that's where I'm at with it. Obviously, I'm hoping that we win the game. Stack the box. Let me Saquon as much as possible. And if you got a double AJ on the outside if Smitty don't play. And if you do play, pray. So that's where that's where I'm at with it. A couple of more things before we get up out of here, ladies. Again, thank y'all so much for joining. If you made it this far in the episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, don't forget, Fact and Stats is a daily sports show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. As we're going to wrap up, I am curious to know, who do y'all think at this very moment, and I have one more question after this, who do y'all think at this very moment deserves MVP the most?
I have an
Saquon.
unpopular. Yeah, that's Saquon.
Both y'all saying Saquon?
Right now, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
He's
Why?
averaging he's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Isn't that's insane? If he does that for the whole season, and he's on pace to break Adrian Peterson's record, this is if he does that, you know he deserves MVP. You know he does. If he breaks AP's if he breaks AP's record,
Absolutely.
like what are we
Absolutely.
doing
You
here?
break that record that no one thought would be touched. We're like, when it was said, people were like, no one's gonna touch this.
Yeah.
And then like less than 2 decades later, it's broken.
And the
Um,
value,
I
the
I picked
value.
Saquon.
Come
I was
on.
about to say I picked Saquon primarily because the word is MVP, like most valuable player. No one can tell me that Saquon has not had an insane impact on that Eagles team. Like, not saying that they weren't a good team before, but
Yeah.
like this just added another level to their offense that I don't think anyone could have anticipated. And he's efficient with what he does. He is a home run hitter, but he's not just the home run hitter. He can be their workhorse. He's the only one that really gets the ball for them for the most part. In the backfield, you see sightings of like Kenneth Gainwell here and there, but he's a home run hitter. He's a workhorse. He is extremely efficient. It's like insane to see how he is this year. Like, we always knew Saquon was good with the Giants, right? But it feels like playing with this O line and like in this
Mhm.
offense with like the quarterback that Jalen is, it has unlocked a level of Saquon that I don't think any of us like I think we knew could be there, but I don't we clearly didn't see it because of like, stuff with the Giants. And I firmly believe that I can say this, and this is like no shade to anybody else. But I think if you take Saquon off of that Eagles team, this is a completely different team. He has bailed them out a lot. He's bailed Nick Sirianni out a lot. And I
Mhm.
don't know if they get those bailouts, if they win some of those closer games, if they're beating teams the way that they're beating them, if he's not there. Because it's like you always have to worry about, oh, okay, Jalen himself can run, right? He's mobile and everything. So, like, you have to worry about that threat. And then you always have to worry about, like, Smitty and AJ right there, right? And then you added in Saquon. It's like you had a Lamborghini, a Porsche, and a Maserati in the garage, and you added in a Rolls Royce. Like, nigga, what? Like, what are we doing? And it's just like the price goes up, and I just feel like Saquon has been super consistent in like, what he does and like what he's brought to that team this entire season. That like you just can't deny it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. Over this, especially after this last recent game where he did 255 rushing yards. That's ridiculous. Um, but how do you feel about the two quarterbacks that's in play for it? Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Like, where y'all at with that?
Lamar is okay. This is the thing. Lamar should. I'm not a Josh Allen fan. He is playing great. He's limited the turnovers. but I don't think he's having a last season was more of an MVP season than this season. If you look at his stats, I'm not impressed. But what he's doing for the team, he is bringing value. So the value part, he finally is, because I needed to see him do it without a Stephon Diggs on the other side. He's making other guys better. So I'm gonna give Josh Allen that. He's making guys around him better. He's making an offense that shouldn't be that dangerous, look like they could do something in the playoffs, if they don't see the Chiefs, because I think that's just a bad matchup for them in the playoffs. But I think they can make some noise. But then you look at Lamar Jackson, what he's done. He's a way better. I think people have to give him credit this year. He's a way better passer, way
Yeah,
more accurate, making way more like key plays for them to win. And also, he has his legs, and I think he looks like way
versus the
faster.
Blitz.
What? Yes, versus the blitz, he's been really,
yeah,
really, really poised, and he looks just faster and more athletic than last season to
yeah,
me when he's like running and out on the um, and I think Derrick Henry has been a big key. That's the thing with Lamar. He has another guy that you could say brings just as much value this season. So that's why it's kind of hard because he is playing alongside Derrick Henry. But I would edge Lamar right now just because of the head. I'm a head-to-head person, and that was before Amari Cooper, but they dragged the Bills, so I have to give Lamar the edge. Um, but Josh Allen has really shown me that he's valuable. He can increase the level of play around him, which I really needed to see personally. So I think it's between those two quarterbacks right now. Dark horse is Jared Goff, I guess. I guess if we have to, dark horse, Jared.
what you got to say about the quarterbacks, Ari?
Um, Pretty similar to Lele. Like I have both quarterbacks have grown this season. I think the game has slowed down for both of them. Lamar with the blitz, Josh and his decision making and being so turnover heavy. Like, Josh was the dude that like he's gonna get you like hella touchdowns, but like half of that's gonna be an interception or like a dropped interception. That it was like you kind of always had to take the good with the bad, but his good was so good, not just passing wise, but rushing wise. Like his
Mhm.
good was always so good that people were like, yeah, but like, it's still Josh, right? Um, I think I see Josh playing a lot smarter. You don't see him forcing things the way that you used to see him force things. He just looks like he just has a much better understanding of like what he's seeing. And like that's not even shade. But like just it seems like he is understanding like his pieces and like what he can do to elevate them. I don't think he's just solely relying on like I have a cannon for an arm, so I'm gonna throw that down there and like somebody's gonna catch it, my player or
Mhm.
the other team's player. Like somebody's gonna catch it because I can get that ball down there. I think he's relying on like being a more like a smarter quarterback and playing more strategic. Lamar leaps personally this year, just like as a passer, it's just insane. Him versus the blitz has always been like a thing that held him back. I think in his career, like as a passer, and like people really giving him like the credit that I think he's deserved in the past. Um, and like him being able to just play as good as he's been playing versus the blitz and then like against pressure, um,
Mhm.
and playmaking, and not just relying on Derrick Henry and not just relying on everything being like, look, I'm Amar, I'm really gonna help elevate everybody else around me. I think just like can't be denied. I would give it to Lamar because I mean like you're a Ravens fan, so you can tell me. But like Josh Allen lost the Bills that game versus the Texans. Um,
Oh yeah,
I don't think you can
Mhm.
necessarily say with that, and that's his play. I don't think you can necessarily say that Lamar has a game this season where you can like Lamar lost that game.
yeah, I agree.
Lamar is the reason why they didn't win.
Mhm.
And so that plus the head to head, obviously, um, just like edges Lamar up for me. Lily said Jared Goff is for dark horse. I personally think if they didn't pay attention to this records things when they gave people the MVP, Joe Burrow would be in this
Oh
conversation
yeah,
because he
yeah,
is having such a good year, but they are just not good. as a team. And it's unfortunate. So he's not really, this probably would be a year that he would be like in legit MVP conversations and contention. And he's just like not in that because like the team as a whole, it's just like the defense really, let's just call it this. The defense
Yeah.
is just not good in the play calling. It's just like not what it needs.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen. Well said. I can't thank y'all ladies enough. I do want to answer to this last question before we wrap up and get out of here. It's simple. I want to know who y'all have making the AFC and NFC Championship. Who do y'all have making the Super Bowl? Who do y'all have winning the Super Bowl? And that's it. For me, I will start. I have it Ravens, Bills. I think one of those teams beat the Chiefs this year. And in order for that to happen, they're going to meet. So I'm saying it on record now, November 27th. Ravens versus Bills, AFC Championship. NFC, I've been on this all year. Eagles versus Lions. And I've been having the Eagles make the Super Bowl all year. You're going to see the Ravens versus the Eagles Super Bowl 2025, February. That's me. And Ravens winning it.
Oh, okay. I know mine. I have the same NFC Championship game as you have. I have Eagles Lions. I have the Lions winning this. Um, Shout out Detroit. um, I think the Lions pull that one out. Um, AFC, I have the Ravens there. I have them in that game. I just have the Chiefs there as well because no one has been able to tell me and show me that that man in red with that curly hair and that man on the sideline named Andy Reid, when it comes down to it, can't get it done. I know, they had the Bengals thing, but I gotta see it. I gotta see Pat lose. I just have to see it, and I ain't seen it. And I just I have to see it. I can't do that to the Chiefs. They are getting healthier. Isaiah Pacheco is back.
True. True.
Which is a big thing for them. We haven't seen Isaiah Pacheco. They're not saying Kareem Hunt hasn't been good. Like I don't think in this state of his state at this point in his career, he's Isaiah Pacheco. Like I just don't. I do think having a backfield with them both in it makes them a harder team to play. Um, I just, the Chiefs are the Bills' boogeyman when it comes to the playoffs, and I can't see it happening. So I have an AFC Championship game rematch. I have the Chiefs. But that's like, okay, if I'm being for real, like I can't even say it. I have the Chiefs winning. I have the Chiefs winning. That is so hard. Like I have to see it, and it might just be me being like too much of like believing the hype and like drinking like the Arrowhead Kool-Aid, whatever the hell you want to call it. I just like I've seen them step up when it matters. Um, I want y'all to win though. I just don't think you win.
That's fair.
Um, Super Bowl. Super Bowl's tough, man. Super Bowl's tough. Um, I'm gonna stay with what I've been riding with all season. I'm gonna choose the Lions. I think it'll be really interesting.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think styles wise, it'll be very interesting to see like what Kansas City does with like Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery and then Amon Ra and whatever complement of tight ends they want to put out there and whatever. Um, I think that'll be very interesting to see. But I personally, I've had the Lions as like the best team in the league all season, and I am not going to come to that. Um, but yeah, I'm going with the Run Pride
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Lele, what you got for us to close it out?
Shout out to the best team in November. I think that no, I'm just kidding. AFC. Let me do AFC first. AFC Championship. Yeah, I'm not the Chiefs. The worst season is them losing the AFC Championship. I can't do. They're gonna be in the AFC Championship. It's just who's gonna meet them there. So Chiefs versus. I'm gonna go Ravens. I really think this year Their defense is not as good, but I think their offense in the postseason will come to play. So it'll be a
Yeah.
reverse of last season. I think your offense is gonna be elite this postseason run. I think Lamar's gonna have his first appearance in the Super Bowl. So I'm picking the Ravens
Ooh.
to beat the Chiefs. I Lamar, I am trusting in you again. If you let me down, sir, I'm done. This is your last chance, okay? I really believe that this is his year. The way he's looking, the way he's playing, and I like the things that he even says in press conferences. I like when they didn't start off the season right and he was like, "Why are you on live? Get off live." Like he's a different level of locked in, and I really believe this year that he's going to get to the Super Bowl. So I have the Ravens going to Super Bowl. NFC side of the ball. Okay, depending on how it lines up, NFC Championship, I want to say division rivals, Packers versus Lions. I really want to see that. Us in the dome, not at Lambeau. Us in a dome, lighting it up. Uh, and I have us winning and going to the Super Bowl to face the Baltimore Ravens. It will be the Green Bay Packers versus the Baltimore Ravens. It will be Jordan Love versus Lamar Jackson. It will be Josh Jacobs versus Derrick Henry. It will be everything. It will be us in New Orleans. But yeah, I really believe that this team can hit a stride in the postseason. I think if we execute offensively, Matt LaFleur to me is an offensive genius when he wants to be, and when the thing that he's done with our run game, he's showing so many different looks, so many different types of handoffs. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, he's a whole different animal, but Josh Jacobs is like the definition of a horse. Without him, our offense would be nothing. The San Francisco game literally showed that we were doing nothing. Without his 3 touchdowns and his dominance on that end, it would have been way closer than it needed to be. So we have an elite run game, and I really like our running back too, Emmanuel Wilson. Shout out to him. He gives us good good carries when Josh Jacobs has to like take a break. So I'm really thinking that we take a step up and get to the Super Bowl and win.
Okay.
The Packers are winning the Super Bowl this year.
Okay.
You heard it here.
Okay,
You heard it here
period.
Bold.
first. You heard it
Bold.
here
Thanks
first.
Bold.
over
Okay.
the Ravens.
Oh, Packers and the Ravens. It's gonna be a high scoring game though. That's what I do know.
Listen,
Okay.
I respect it. Thank y'all for sharing the past hour or so with me on Fact and Stats. It's a phenomenal episode. Do y'all have anything that y'all want to say to the people before we get up out of here, Lele or Ari?
Um, go Pack, go.
Um, Stop trying to win, Saints. Like, let's just let this die, please. Like, let's get it.
All right, thank y'all so much. If you made it to the end of this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also tap into the Daily Sports Show Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. And that's that.